So the Suns landed Beal. So Bradley Beal was traded from the Washington Wizards to the Phoenix Suns on June 19th of this year in a blockbuster deal that wasn't really blockbuster, but blockbuster name that included Chris Paul, Landry Shamet, multiple second-round picks, and multiple pick swaps as well too. So the trade was finalized after Beal waived his no-trade clause, which he had as part of his 5-year, $251 million extension contract that he signed with the Wizards back in 2022. So only 1 year in the contract. Tell me your thoughts, man. I've been waiting to ask you this. What are your thoughts on Bradley Beal leaving Peyton's team, the Wizards, to go to the Suns?
I hate the trade. I think that there's redundancy in it. I think that they're food on defense, even worse than they were before. And I think that, like, Bradley Beal as your third best player, like, I mean, cool. He'll have open shots and he'll hit them. But, like, I just think there's so much redundancy between him and
Booker?
And Booker, yeah. Like,
he hates Booker, by the way.
It's just like,
I don't know why.
If your plan is to really legit play Devin Booker at point guard so that it can work, like, I don't see it for real for 82 games and plus playoffs. Like, I don't see Devin Booker playing successful point guard play night in, night out in NBA season, given that he's been a scorer his whole life.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And I think, like, Bradley, for what they want to do, like, they want to win while they have KD and while they're, like, trying not to get punished under these new CBA rules, having a super team, having 3 niggas on your team that make north of 30. Matter of fact, they said that the other day they're going to keep DeAndre Ayton. So it's like you got 4 niggas who make more, plus $30+ million on your team. Like, you're going to get punished for this move. You better hope that it wins you a championship. But personally, it's not. Like, as a basketball team, you look at who Kevin Durant is, what Devin Booker provides, and what Bradley Beal provides. Like, just from an NBA prototype of a starting five, they don't look like a starting five to me. Like, there's just too much, like, redundancy. It's just 3 shooters, 3 scorers really, and a big man who don't really like to bang. You know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't gonna work out, bro. But the thing is that they had to do something. They had to get rid of Chris Paul, and they did that. And they said, well, hey, like, if we can get a really good player out of it, let's do it. And they did it. And that's fine. Like, but I don't think that this move, and as we've seen, like, a super team doesn't get you to a conference final sometimes. Like, I think that they had better balance before they even added Kevin Durant. I know that people don't believe that they're a better team without Kevin Durant than they are with him, but I'm in that boat. I'm in that boat. I'd rather them have Mikal Bridges and fucking Cam Johnson. They looked really good. The floor is spaced, and they looked like an NBA team with that roster.
Yeah, and it goes back to when Carl was on one of the episodes before, where you're like, do you get in the win now situation or take the motto where I think a lot of teams are really going to start to implement non-super teams, build through the draft, make your trades, yada, yada, yada. And I'm just like, if y'all could flip Landry Shamet and Chris Paul into Beal, there was no need to, like you said, get Kevin Durant. You could have flipped Chris Paul and still got Beal and still had Cam and still had whatchamacallit, and then you flipped DeAndre Ayton for like a Miles Turner or whatnot.
In your first round,
and they would have been good.
Yeah.
But when you're a new owner, you want to flex a little bit. So I can see why they did that as well too. KD's getting a little bit older. He's proving he can't stay healthy, but when is Beal really proving that he can stay healthy as well too? Or Booker. Booker always got hamstring problems as well. I think it works. I just even though they a super team,
you think what works?
I think them 3 can work together.
Like
Beal before like he got into his prime, he played a lot of off-ball basketball alongside John Wall. And Devin Booker and KD played great off-ball as well too. Devin Booker, whenever CP was out, and then when the Suns were kind of making noise from even before the bubble, going into the bubble, and then when CP got traded, like whenever CP went out, D-Book always played point guard. So I think he's going to be the number 1, and then him and Bradley Beal are going to kind of both be the playmakers for that team as well too. So I think it's going to work from a ball handling standpoint, playmaking standpoint. But the only thing I'm worried about is like, even though they got a big three, is just like you said, if you got four, you got three of them making over 40 mil, like you said, one of them making over 30 mil. What players are you going to have left to sign? You're not like a Miami franchise where they just find undrafted niggas everywhere. They just, pop into the system. Yeah. So what are you going to do with those roster spots 5 through whatever? That's what I'm concerned about, because it's proven that it's not about who you have on your team. It's also about your depth and your health. And those three are some fragile niggas. So
who on that team is the leader now?
Book. You think Katie the leader? Katie just is going to be the coach, Frank Vogel. As far as players, I don't trust DeAndre Ayton. Bradley Beal has not shown me he can be a leader in DC at all. Or when Russ came there, he was a leader. And then before that was John Wall. Beal's never even played winning basketball outside of playing with those two. Granted, and you still had Kuz, you still had all these other players, and they couldn't even make the play-in. Like, that shit was disgusting. Okay. But I think this is Book's team. I think Book's the leader.
It is definitely his team. I know that the leader is not usually is rarely the best player on the team, but do you see Devin Booker as a player to galvanize the troops
when everything's going south? I guess by default I would go to KD, but like the eye test tells me, just based off of longevity for that team, the franchise player for that team, and you can just tell he looks like the alpha there. But if you're saying when there's times that are tough, I guess KD. But I mean, I don't know who's going to be that guy, like a Draymond, like a Marcus Smart, who we about to talk about, who's going to be on that rah shit. I don't know.
And every champion,
because that was Chris Paul, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, I don't know.
Every team needs that. Like, I feel like in Denver's case, a little bit it was,
who would you say it was for Denver?
It was a little bit of Aaron Gordon and KCP. Like, I felt like every time
Jeff Green a little bit.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't know.
DeAndre Jordan sometimes from the bench.
I think
when you down his ass on
every
shit.
time like KCP was wired, like he was the one that was always talking on a bench and like, just galvanizing to make sure everybody was together. And I think like I just don't know who that is on the roster for Phoenix. But again, like just from a talent perspective and winning the 82 games in the regular season, like yeah, you got the talent. I just don't know how it fits, because I don't know. Seeing Devin Booker play point guard for 82 games is I haven't seen it.
Yeah. Well, you're going to see it this year. And if they, because it's a regular season, if they stay healthy and get like a top 2 seed, Book might win MVP this year.
Okay.
One-on-ones, they about to play hella one-on-one. He about to be so efficient. You saw what he was doing in the playoffs, bro.
They gonna cook Bradley Beal on defense, though. I don't know who
they gonna cook guard. All them on defense.
I don't know who he gonna guard.
When Bradley Beal wanted to play defense, he can at least stay somewhat in front of his defender in Washington. But like Washington, they're not on TV like that, so no one except for Payton gonna watch something.
I seen the highlights of him just like completely losing his man though, and just having bad basketball IQ. Yeah. So that's what I'm talking about here. I mean, obviously. Do
you think it's also one of those things where it's like, yo, I don't feel like it? Is it like, yo, I don't care anymore. Like I don't want to play.
I mean, yeah.